Alright, quick video and commentary on an article I received. Title of the article is Boxer Towell Dies After Glasgow Bout. So it says Scottish boxer Mike Towell has died in the hospital after being seriously injured in a bout on Thursday, his management has said. The 25-year-old from Dundee was rushed to the hospital after a fifth-round loss to Dale Evans in a St. Andrew's Sporting Club fight at Glasgow's Radisson Blue Hotel. Towell's partner, Chloe Ross, said he fought right to the end. His management said he passed away with his family at his bedside. St. Andrew's Sporting Club confirmed Towell's death in a tweet on Saturday morning. Within the last hour, Mike Towell passed away. He will always be in our hearts, it said. Absolutely heartbroken. In a Facebook post, Ms. Ross and said Towell passed away peacefully shortly after 2300 hours on Friday, 12 hours after he was taken off life support. I'm absolutely heartbroken to say my annoying best friend passed away tonight at 11:02 very peacefully, she wrote. Michael had severe bleeding and swelling to his brain. He had been complaining of headaches for the last few weeks, but we put it down to migraines with the stress of his fight. It has been the longest 24 hours of our lives. My baby has lost his daddy, but he will be so proud of his dad and what he achieved. Ms. Ross added, once he was taken off of his life support, he managed 12 hours, 12 whole rounds off his life support. He fought right to the end, and he's done us all so proud. He left doing the thing he's best at. There's only one. Trainer Shane McGuigan said on Twitter, heartbreaking news that Mike Towell has lost his life. May he rest in peace. Thoughts go out to his loved ones. Promoter Ed Hearn said, absolutely devastating by the passing of Mike Towell. All of our thoughts with his friends and family at this time. Towell was knocked down in the first round of the fight before recovering to continue the match. Referee Victor Loughlin stopped the fight in the fifth round shortly after Towell was knocked down a second time. He received treatment in the ring and was given oxygen before being taken to an ambulance on a stretcher. The boxer had been undefeated going into Thursday's fight with 11 previous wins and 1 draw on his professional record. Alright, so I just wanted to share that, and it's just more evidence to show the dangers of combat sport and how it is not healthy. I mean, it's just blatantly clear to me. It's very much common sense, getting your head bashed around, no matter if you're in the boxing ring, on the football field, on the soccer field, or if you're in a vehicle, getting in a car crash, or you're on a bicycle, getting in an accident. Anytime that there's anything such as head trauma, it's not good for your health, and even Bruce Lee passed away from something wrong with his brain. And when there's something wrong with your brain, it's not necessarily something you could visually see. A lot of times it's just what you feel. You might be feeling dizzy, or these severe headaches, migraines. Your brain could be bleeding inside and you don't even know. And a lot of these boxers, cage fighters, wrestlers, football players, they have a lot of brain damage, from their activities, their dangerous activities. And this is what I've been saying all along. This is not representing health, and this is not the way. To me, martial arts is about health. It's about living longer. And this is the exact opposite of the martial arts. This is dying early and being extremely unhealthy. Some of these boxers might be talented. but it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, what they're doing is just not good for them. It's not good for the people that they're doing it with. It's not good for the society in general. It's not good for children to aspire to become boxers or cage fighters or football players. You know, children should aspire to be poets, dancers, artists, scientists, philosophers, professors, doctors, lawyers, martial artists. You know, people that care about their health and they want to better their health, you know. And this is not just an amateur fighter, just some random person that's just dying. They said that he won 11 fights in a row, you know, professional fights. So, you know, and it happened to him, you know. And there's a lot of people out there that aren't even fighting professionally, that aren't even making money fighting, but then they're sustaining these sort of injuries, if not worse. And I think a lot of this information is just hidden from the public because they don't want people to, they don't want to destroy the industry. But, you know, they even said it in the Concussion movie that people started to realize that boxing is just kind of, you know, it's a sport that has no class, that is just too gruesome. So then that's why they've created football, and that's why football got so popular. And then you know, football players have equipment on. They think that it's safer, but it's actually just as dangerous. But they don't want to admit that. But even though the truth has come out, people still don't want to change. People still want to do it. You know, that's fine, you know. But I think that people should at least be well informed of the dangers of these types of sports and just make more informed decisions, especially parents that are making decisions for their children. And you know, but the person passed away, and hopefully people can learn from his death, as well as all the other deaths that's also occurred. You know, there's other articles talking about a bunch of other people dying in boxing and cage fighting and football as well. And hopefully, you know, some of these articles grasp people's attention to understand that this is something that we should not be promoting. But it's not just the people that getting involved, it's also the people that are watching it. I mean, it's like, we are the ones that are, not me, but people are paying to watch these things. People are enjoying, they enjoy seeing other people get hurt and injured. You know, but if we start putting our money into something else, then it could discourage people from getting involved in things like this. So meaning, say basketball players and golfers, hypothetically, say they make an average of $100 million a year, and then football players and say boxers and cage fighters, they only made $5,000 a year, then people will be very discouraged from entering into those sports. They'd rather do basketball and golf because they're going to make more money doing those things. So a lot of it is about what we value as a society, as a culture, and now a lot of times influence and dictate what people will choose to do with their time and where they choose to put their energy in. But I don't know, I just think that people should learn from it. And things like this, the movie Concussion, other articles that I've shared, it's just more and more evidence just pointing towards a different way. And we all have the power to make that decision for ourselves. And with that decision, it could change the lives of the people around us. Because if you're a teacher and then you no longer teach combat sport and you want to teach something that's healthier, then you're going to change the direction of all of your students. Same thing as a parent. I mean, if you just don't let your children get involved in football, and wrestling, and boxing, then they're going to do something else with their time. So our decisions directly influence a lot of the people around us. So I just hope that people make good decisions. And I will always be promoting the real martial arts over things like this, over combat sport, And I just keep trying to educate the public, to let them know that these are completely opposite. Martial artists would not be doing things like this. Martial artists, protect their health, not just their body, but their mind, their brain, their internal. They protect it so they can live longer. So a martial artist should ideally live until he's over 100 years old and still be in good health. He might be 60 years old, but then he still looks and feels like he's 40. But combat sport is like the complete opposite. You might have somebody who's 40 years old, but then he looks and feels like he's 80 years old because he's put his body and his mind and his brain and his heart and his lungs and just everything through so much stress and so much stress and shock to the point where he just lives a very miserable life because his health is just so much destroyed. And I think people just need to see the difference and within your own life choose accordingly which side that you want to represent. Do you want to just be a fighter, just a boxer, just a wrestler, or do you want to be a martial artist? And to me, they are very opposite. And I hope that people will learn from this to protect themselves so that they can be there, for their families, rather than passing away over some ego trip. I think that's just ridiculous. So master the mind and don't let this ego put you in a position where you're going to sacrifice your health and your life, for something that really is meaningless. But I don't look up to fighters. I don't look up to boxers. I look up to the sages. They have a lot of wisdom to share, that teach meditation, basically teach how to liberate yourself from this ego mentality And that's what's lacking in the combat sports. They don't have meditation. That's why, you know, they kill themselves over stupid things. But in martial arts, when you train and you better yourself in meditation, there's a much greater purpose in what you do that's beyond just you.